everybody, welcome back to another upload, and sorry I haven't been uploading. It's been a bit busy, but hey, school's out, and I finally have sort of the will, oh, that's a bad way to put it. I have some of the motivation to make content, and I have a bunch of ideas, so let's put it into practice, am I right? So you're probably wondering what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm glad you asked. Today, we're going to be talking about the episode 1 that absolutely destroyed me and convinced me to binge an entire manga series in about a week, because it was just that good. So you may be asking, what more do you have to add to the conversation? Everyone's already talking about how this is going to be the next peak anime. This is setting a new standard for anime, how writing should be, how visuals should be, how effort in anime should be in general. And yes, people have been talking about that. People have also been comparing this greatly to Kaguya-sama, which, side note, apparently I'm like the one person on planet Earth who didn't watch Kaguya-sama first, because I read all of Oshinoko, or at least what's out at the moment. At the time of recording this, the next chapter 120, comes out tomorrow, and I just ended up watching Oshinoko. I started it literally last night as of recording this, because my friend convinced me that it was peak. It's exactly the trash romance, not trash romance, it's good romance, but he knew it was the romance stuff I'm into, plus the fact that it has some of the absurdist comedy visuals and telling as Bocchi the Rock, which you can go check out my other video on Bocchi the Rock about. But basically, what do I have to say? I have to say, yes, I do agree with all of these claims that this is going to be the next standard for anime as a whole. But I don't want to just sit here and be the yes-man to Oshinoko. I want to have some more critical thinking and some more critical thoughts about this, because I believe there are some spots that are either, I guess the best way to put it is less preferable, but this is more me and what I've picked up. And the first thing I want to talk about is the characters. Some of the characters are written really well, and it shows. Characters have these grand performances, especially later in the manga. I can say, without spoilers of course, that the characters are definitely some of the strongest parts about this anime. If you aren't necessarily, the biggest fan of the intentions of the manga itself, but I do have to say some characters are especially weaker than others. The biggest example I can think of is Ruby, because she is given so much backstory to work with. She is one of our main two. But the problem is, Ruby as a character isn't, developed, really. She isn't developed well enough until later in the manga. And at that point, I was thinking they're giving Ruby a lot of screen time, and all power to them. Ruby definitely needs more screen time later on, and she does get important later on. Of course, without spoilers, I can't say anything, but I just feel that that Ruby should have been written a lot better at the beginning of the manga, and sort of that's my main complaint with the characters. Everyone else seems pretty fine. I'd say some of the strongest characters are Arima and Akane. Aqua, I'm so or so on Aqua, because on one hand, I really like the way Aqua is written. We get to see him a lot because he's the main character. We get to see a lot of what's going through his mind and whatnot. And technically, because he's not a teenage boy, it's a whole thing. Just watch episode 1, you'll understand. But basically, since you get to see his mind is a lot more mature than what he is supposed to be, it makes sense that he has these critical thinking skills and whatnot. That's not out of the question. But what I'm talking about is that, I don't know, Aqua just doesn't feel, his motivations aren't completely fleshed out, I think. I feel you have to stretch your imagination, definitely, to understand why Aqua is doing XYZ. But I think also, Aqua just... this makes no sense to me. But, hey, I guess if I can't say too much, I can tell you that Aqua's motivations do make sense to a degree. It's just, I feel they're not fleshed out enough for me to fully enjoy them and continue with the series. And I can't talk too much because, you know, I've enjoyed many works where the protagonist's sort of motivations aren't exactly the most clear-cut. They're sort of abstract or not fully fleshed out. That's fine, you know. There are much better things in a piece of work that can supplement these things and then help build on the motivation. You know, sometimes you just don't know what you want, and there will be people to help you figure out what you want. That's fine. I think that's my main issue with the manga as a whole so far. I think everything else, the execution is pretty good. I do feel that, you know, sometimes there's this really good balance between sort of exposition dump, information dump, and character development and character interactions. I think there's sometimes a good balance. There are some bits, or like a certain arc, where it feels more exposition and information heavy to the point where it's like, oh, the balance is a bit off, and it was a bit harder to read through that arc, I will admit, but overall, you're going to be thoroughly entertained for the most of the manga. But to all of you anime purists who are like, oh, I don't want to read manga, what do you think I am? A reader? First off, you're using subtitles, so shush. But also, I do think, you know, if you're patient enough, go for it, champ. But if you're like me, and you don't have patience at all, and you are reading the Chainsaw Man manga right now, because you can't wait for Kobeni to be animated doing DDR, then just hop on. It is a great read, and since this is a weekly updated manga, I can definitely say that you're going to be thoroughly entertained. Though, if you do want to enjoy this via the manga, I would probably recommend that you pace yourself a lot better than I did, because the way I read manga, I just go ham for like a week, and I'm suddenly done, and then I'm just like, okay, now I have to wait, which definitely not the smartest thing, but hey, I want my content. I really enjoy it, so I think that justifies it. One final thing I want to add personally is that Oshi no Ko is not only just an entertaining read, but it is also a very informational one, because a lot of people in the entertainment industry are facing these problems right now, especially in places like Japan and Korea, where they have the idol culture, where they take celebrities to an even higher pedestal that we in the West hold them to. And personally, I think that that's one of the big things that is also an attracting feature, because it's really nice to learn about how the inner workings of the entertainment industry, work. I feel that learning about some of these things will not only give us, an insight as to the challenges of being in the entertainment industry, but also definitely give us some more clarity, perhaps, a bit more leniency with other people in the entertainment industry, especially if you were to watch episode 7, because episode 7 definitely goes in. I believe it's episode 7 at least. I don't remember. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. You knew exactly based on what popped up on the screen first before the episode started. And I forgot to mention this because it's been a while. Things are shifting around. Things are moving around. I just want to do a quick update on stuff that's been going on. If you saw one of my shorts that I posted, because I thought it was infuriating enough to post, I have started playing Danganronpa. My friends got me into this. They literally gave me the Nintendo Switch cartridge for the collection and told me, you are playing Danganronpa 1, 2, and 3. Apparently Danganronpa S doesn't matter. I've been slowly giving my thoughts. I have this Discord server actually between me and my friends, and I would probably like to upload some of the highlights of that. Unfortunately, I don't have any of my live reactions to most of what's been going on because I play mostly when I'm done with work at school, but I would definitely love to show some of the goofy messages that have been sent in that Discord server. And that segues into the final part of this episode. You know, it's been a while, so clearly we have to do an update on the waifu tier list. As usual, Jiro Kyoko is on top, but 2 and 3 have been shuffled around. You see, in second place is a tie because I can't pick between Akane and Arima from Oshinoko. Like I said, they're some of the stronger characters, but based on them, like actually, as waifu material, I genuinely can't pick. But in third place, we got Junko Enoshima, the actual Junko, by the way, not the at the beginning of the game. No, the actual Junko. There is something I can't explain, but the absolute, literal, unhinged nature has provided me with something that I, frankly, enjoy.